Alrighty, welcome back everyone. It is LaughNgamez here. I'm back with another Starcraft 2 1 versus 1 bot AI cast. We have got ourselves what should be a good one here today, as it's going to be a Terran bot that's been receiving some improvements and looking quite formidable in the late game. It's Roro, spawning in the upper left here on Abyssal Reef. And taking on Roro is going to be none other than one of the best Zerg bots out, well, the best Zerg bot out there. It's Eris. Eris is just an absolute monster when it comes to being incredibly well-rounded, not wasting any time and crushing its opponents. You give this bot 10 minutes to build drones, it will come at you with 200 supply worth of Zerg. And so it's going to be a bit of an uphill battle for Roro here today. But there is a reason I clicked on this replay, and we'll talk about that at the end. As, yeah, I was just a little curious seeing it. And so, ladies and gentlemen, before we get any further into this match, if we could get a like on this video, a lick perhaps on that like button. Yeah, so that would be great. So, yeah, if we can get, I don't know, what day is it today? I am recording this on the 24th of April. So if we could get 24 likes, that would be amazing. Leave a comment down below saying more bots if you want to see more of these bot games. Believe it or not, those comments help us with the YouTube bot. So just taking a second to type that is appreciated. Subscribe if you haven't already. And then if you do want to support the channel and support me making like a backlog of videos, as I'm recording this April 24th, but it's not going to be released well into May, you can consider becoming a YouTube member, as that is a great way to support the channel. There's the join button right by the subscribe button, and you can see the perks there. But anyway, enough with that spiel. It does kind of work for YouTube, though, having like a spiel, because at least for Starcraft, there is a couple minutes till the game really gets going most of the time, unless there's a proxy, in which case I have to cut my spiel short. But yes, Roro is a Terran bot that we've seen have some solid macro, make some battle cruisers, that kind of thing lately. And it was actually doing quite well on the ladder, even having a better win rate than its Protoss counterpart, Zozo. And that's why I'm like, how's it going to do against Eris in this game? We do currently just have a one base play from the Terran, and then it looks like a bit of a later expansion going up for Roro. Now this does make me a little bit nervous. It also opened up very, very safe with a bunker on the high ground. And this makes me a little bit nervous for the reason that if you want to beat Eris, you either kind of have to rush it, it seems, or you need to just out macro it, which is not an easy thing to do. But okay, maybe Roro is going for a bit of a rush, as we have a Ghost Academy on the way. And that makes me very excited, as Ghost Marauder rushes can absolutely be a thing. We've got double racks with 2 tech labs on them, so concussive shell being researched, so maybe going to be some Ghosts and Marauders teaming up to bring some pain to Eris in the early game, which is not something we see a ton of. I'm 100% here for it, though. We've yet to see a Ghost or anything be researched out of that Ghost Academy. However, Ghosts are very expensive units, so I'm quite curious about that. We have Extra Depot, or an Extra Depot, finishing up for Roro. It's going to have a Command Center finishing soon, too, which will boost supply, so you don't got to build another depot. Yes, this is just a bit of a rush coming out of the Terran bot, though. Eris is going to come on in with these Lings, get a bit of a scout off, not delay the Expo. Medivac healing this SCV is quite nice. The Lings are taking their hatred out on the rock. I do find it kind of funny that the bot authors program their Lings to hate rocks. Now, Roro does seem to be building just to a, well, 2-base early bio push. The Ghost Academy being kind of irrelevant at the minute, so maybe it's going to be a Ghost follow-up. Maybe the bot author just accidentally put in the wrong building name or ID while they were programming. Who knows? But if we see a nuke later on, I might just scream a little bit, because that would be very exciting. And yes, there we go, a Ghost on the way. So Very, very cool from Roro. Not something we see a ton of. I think we've seen Ketrock have a bit of an experimental ghost build. But, oh man, look at this. Eris is well aware of the aggression coming its way. There is just mass Lings being produced, and this is what makes Eris one of the best bots out there. It reads when aggression is coming its way incredibly well. Roro is also just chasing this one Ling to the end of the earth, which is not ideal, as it means those Marines are not crossing the map. However, thinking about that, it may actually be ideal for Roro, because Eris has 74 Lings, which is more than enough to slaughter these Marines. So, yeah, thinking about it, keep chasing that single Ling Marines if you know what's good for you. Now, we do have more ghosts on the way for Roro. It has yet to move out for an attack or anything like that. Just kind of moving around the map with its army, chasing these single Lings. So something that you generally don't want to be programmed into your bot. Roro does kill that Ling, so maybe it's just kind of in cleanup mode, chasing the odd unit here and there, but not actually going for an attack. As I say that, though, Medivacs do join up with this army. Ghosts do not have Cloak or anything like that. Eris, meanwhile, has produced just so many Lings at this point. 125 Lings are out presently. I'm wondering if Roro's going to lift its Marines into the Medivacs, if it gets swarmed, how the poke is potentially going to go. Because, like, ghosts, they can snipe, they can EMP, but as far as fighting Zerglings in a straight-up fight, cost per cost, they are not effective. There's a snipe going down on a queen, so that's very cool. The bio is kiting back, but there we see the immediate lift up. I think maybe one Marine got left behind there, poor guy. And then we have got Roro throwing up a third base, just producing more bio, getting more ghosts out. I'm really curious if this is going to go into like a late game ghost TVZ. That ghost sits in the bush but doesn't attack the Ling, which is very bizarre. And looks like some Lings are going to get us around on a fair few of these Terran units. That's 2 ghosts for nothing. Eris is building a ridiculous amount of Lings in this game. It's literally just like, build Lings, that's all I need. And that's all it's doing. 160 Lings, adding in some more hatcheries. So getting up a 4th, getting up a 5th, but not teching, nothing like that. So Eris is just like, yeah, just make Lings, it'll be fine. Roro, meanwhile, still just producing a bit of bile. Losing those ghosts definitely was a setback for it. We've got a Raven on the way as well, which could help out with detection, that kind of thing. Cool unit pooling of Roro to have the SCVs just hang out till they're ready to transfer. That way they don't mess with speed mining in the mineral line or anything like that. And yeah, the Terran bot just keeps pathing back and forth with this bio. And Eris is up to 214 Lings, which is it's the highest amount of Lings I've ever seen in a bot game, I think. And I have a bot that builds just Lings, but I don't think it's ever got up to 182 supply on just Lings. We'll see, maybe Eris is going to hit 200 supply. It's completely paused mining gas, so if I had to guess, at this point in the game, I'd say Eris is waiting for an attack that has yet to come. We're now seeing another drone get produced, but that's just to replace the one that was used to build a hatchery. Eris goes for a Ling run-by. And yeah, this is a very funny bot interaction. We've got Eris with a ridiculous amount of Lings, just waiting for whatever comes next, adding in more hatcheries, that kind of thing. Does lose a couple of queens as Roro does step on the creep, but then Roro never attacks. What a wacky game. Okay, I'm starting to understand how this replay is coming together here. I do wonder if Roro is ever going to attack, but the situation is getting better for the Terran bot, as we're currently seeing +1 attack be researched, more and more ghosts and bio getting added on, and they definitely scale better than just Lings. So Eris is doing its thing. Looks like we have a few ghosts get lifted up, boosted back, so Roro's keeping its units alive. Also up to 70 workers. Eris hasn't produced any more workers, but it doesn't really need to if it's just going to stick on Lings, because it's maxed out now just about. It's got 3,000 minerals in the bank, and it's just adding more hatcheries, because what else is it going to spend its money on? So we'll see. Is it going to take even more hatcheries down the line or not? Anyway, yes, Eris seemingly caught in a bit of a loop here, waiting for an attack that is not coming yet. Anyway, if it does eventually come, it may be difficult for the Zerg bot to come back. notably, Roro, upon seeing a threat near its command center, does lift that off to keep it alive. A bit of an overreaction, as it was just 2 Lings, although then there's more Lings there. And these Lings are actually going to commit on in and die. Eris fires up a couple more drones, notably, replacing, well, the one that was building a new hatchery. Eris is slowly expanding all over the map. Getting the delay on Roro's expo is nice. Roro is on a superior economy to the Zerg, which is not something Eris usually deals with. We've got, some more Lings going down during this. The Zerg bot is now mining gas, but not spending it on anything. And this is just such a weird game from Eris. It's just playing with Lings. And I wonder if it's ever going to wake up. It goes to attack some rocks. Yes, I'm very curious if it will wake up. But now Eris is going to go for an attack and try and surround this Terran army. The Zerg bot has got a ridiculous number of Lings gobbling up these Terran units. The Medivacs do save quite a few of them. Not all of them, but quite a few of them. Immediately, Eris fires up another 68 Lings to replace the ones that died. And it definitely has the bank to do that. So 267 Lings with more on the way. Some ghosts are being surrounded. A very bad rally from Roro. At a minimum, those units should be attacked moving out. The Zerg is now flooding into the natural here. As what a cinematic moment this is, as the Lings are just flooding into the Terran base. There is so darn many. Man, oh man, these bot games really are ridiculous. There's ghosts that are falling back to the high ground. Medivacs are picking up Terran units, but it truly is the swarm right now. Roro has a bunker on the high ground to hold that location. Eris seemingly falls back after trading out a ridiculous number of Lings for not that much Terran stuff. 10,000 resources lost to 5,000 presently. So the Lings may be many in number, but they are not actually doing that well for themselves after that ridiculous march. Fortunately, Eris has a boatload of larvae, so it's actually going to burn through a lot of its mineral bank, but it is actually out of larvae, guys. Like, it's got 7 hatcheries and has just lost so many units that it has no larvae, and Eris is quite good at injecting too. That makes it all the more formidable. The Zerg does not transition at all either. I'm really wondering whether Eris will ever transition off this. We do have ghosts moving towards the bottom left, but look at that. Roro just lifts off and heads on out of there. These bot games, like, you think you have a bot pegged, and then it goes and does something like this. I don't even know if the bot authors intended for Eris to ever play a game like this, but here it is. Roro kind of forcing its hand. The Terran bot's still on 3 bases, trying to land a 4th. There's so many ghosts out. No more upgrades are getting researched, though, so we've sort of seemingly hit the end of Roro's tech tree as it's building up a bank. Lots of these ghosts are getting surrounded. It's a good thing they don't have any upgrades, though, because that does mean the ghosts survive a while longer. Eris comes on in. That 4th base surely will not be landing for now. The Zerg is spilling forward. There's a bunker at the natural. I think there's 2 ghosts inside that, and there is. Eris, meanwhile, surrounding some more units, killing them off in perhaps what is one of the most ridiculous bot games I've seen in a while. Quite a few more ghosts do get surrounded from Roro. And that is, how many ghosts have died? 20 ghosts have died. There's 16 out. But the micro on them may need a bit of work. Cool that the SCVs from Roro just retreated to the high ground until there's another base for them to mine at. SCVs are repairing this bunker as it tries to cut through an innumerable amount of Lings. 600 Lings dead so far this game. Ghosts retreating to the high ground. They've got that bunker to fall back to, SCVs to buffer. Auto turret gets dropped down, and eventually Eris does head on home. Now, the Zerg bot has burned through its bank, taking not the best trades. I mean, they've been better because it did catch so many ghosts, but it's still 16,000 resources lost in pretty much purely Lings versus 11,000 resources lost for the Terran. Roro has its command centers flying all over the place. It still needs to land that 4th base. It's going to try that once again. But getting that base up is quite important. And the sooner, the better, because Eris's creep is starting to spread outwards. And I'm not sure if Roro has behavior to scan. It does have a Raven, which could help out. But look at that. Very cool. Command center lands. Workers immediately get back to work. Another bunker goes up. We'll see if this 4th can land. That's going to be quite important for Roro. There is a world in which the Terran bot does just weather the storm. If Eris never breaks out of this sort of funky loop, and yeah, we see very bad pathing on the ghosts. There is no reason to ever be move commanding a unit in StarCraft 2 pretty much like this. That 4th base is starting to mine for Roro, not that the Terran bot is short on resources. Eris, meanwhile, still just doing its thing, producing more and more Lings, maxed out again, so the bank will slowly start to go up. And here is the flood of Lings now, seemingly going towards the 3rd of Roro. The 3rd just lifts up, so very defensive behavior from Roro. Ghosts are kiting back. Medivacs here on mass to help out. There is Ravens dropping auto turrets. SCV is working overtime to try and repair up this bunker. The 1-1 upgrades and the lack of upgrades for Eris is really making this bunker die so slowly. Holy cow. That thing is staying alive, but it eventually does go down. And oh no, Roro has to lift off the 4th base. So that is not good. I was hoping it would get that properly established. So the red Terran bot just abandoned ship. Very interesting programming where it's like, yep, just pull the command centers home. Make use of the fact that our buildings can fly. And yes, there is so many ghosts out for Roro, but the move commanding that we've seen with them having the bad rallies is really not ideal. I'm curious, where's these rallies to? Okay, those are to there. This one is to there too, so I am kind of curious how ghosts have ended up just wandering across the map. But yes, I'm not sure what to say about this game. It's very, very bizarre. Eris, I mean, it's mined out its main, mined out the natural, mining out the 3rd, but still has plenty more bases to go to. Roro is also mining out, trying to land the 4th, but creep is spreading further and further out. Looks like that will be pushed away. Roro has some units walk out onto the map, seemingly move commanding again, or at least some of them. The Terran bot does step onto creep, looking to take a good fight. Medivacs do save that ghost, so very cool evacuation behavior by Roro. The 4th is landing once again, now mining away with mules dropped at it. Lings are coming forward, surrounding this bio, though. And it is quite a few Lings, but the 1-1 definitely helping out. So many Lings are dying in this process. The Medivacs all flying around independently, picking up units to keep as many bio units alive. Maybe seeing some good efficiency from Terrans is the next development in bots, because we've seen, for example, Roaches never die. Maybe we could see the same of bio units never die with Medivacs, that kind of thing. Now, Lings do head towards the 3rd. Incredible harassment behavior by Eris as the 4th is also lifted off. There is a 5th command... Well, the 4th command center floated over to the 5th, which is neat to see from Roro. The Zerg bot, meanwhile, is now out of money as Eris spends all its money on its Ling habit, passing over 1,000 dead. And oh man, what a ridiculous match this is. I just can't believe it. As Roro it's got more it's got a better army than its opponent right now. It's still mining a good amount with a nice bank, making 3 ghosts at a time. I honestly expected BCs in turtling. I did not expect mass ghosts from a bot. Nor did I expect the game to play out like this. So here we have Roro trying to move out on to creep once more. There are queens that could be sniped, and they just get deleted. There's a couple more snipes going down. Pop, pop. Ghosts are falling back as Lings do go for a surround. Medivacs, look at that. Very cool programming from Roro, lifting up a unit as soon as it gets below a certain HP threshold. The Medivacs flying around, boosting around. They may have benefited from, what's the upgrade called? Something fuel tanks, whatever it is. The upgrade on the starport that allows Medivacs to boost for 50% longer, because these things certainly are boosting around. And yes, so quite a few Terran units do fall as Roro is pushed back. Eris's supply does keep going down, though. It's now only at 120 over. It does force a liftoff at the space. The base relands, though. The Zerg bot just pumping out more units. Still with a good economy, well, the same economy mining. 40 drones and nothing more is how Eris has decided to win this game. So it went into some kind of loop, and then it never broke out of it. The only thing that I could ever think would break Eris out of this loop would be if there was an air unit or something like that. Maybe the bot authors have a timer check or something to be hey, what's going on in this game? But it's not looking too likely. Ling's still running all over the place. 170 out on the map, which is quite a few. as Roro moves forward, losing the odd unit here and there. The third is starting to mine out, so this fourth and fifth location are very important. As the Terran steps on the creep. Ling spill forward once more, surrounding the army of Roro, but there they go, getting lifted on up. And these ghosts, they really just are, well, I was going to say not dying, but some of them definitely have been dying. There has been 53 killed versus, well, 1,300 Ling, so that's not a bad ratio for units lost to killed for the Terran. Eris has lost about 33,000 minerals in Ling's lost. It hasn't lost a single gas unit because the only thing it's spent gas on is Burrow and Metabolic Boost. It's not even blocking expansions like it sometimes would do, but it does have creep all over the place. 4 queens out. Lings are running all over the map still, and they're potentially looking for some counter harassment. And that's the incredible thing about Eris, how often it will try to get counter damage done with Lings. Roro, meanwhile, out on the map once more with all these ghosts. Is there Medivacs with them to support them? No. The Medivacs are following a couple other units, so these ghosts could be up shit creek without a paddle, and I think that's what we're going to be seeing. Medivacs do boost in to save them, though, coming in like heroes, and they do lift up a few of the ghosts, but about an equal number dies as well, I'd say. So not a bad fight for Eris, as supplies are increasing for the Zerg, while it's decreasing for the Red Terran. And eventually Roro will run out of money, because the third will eventually mine out, then it'll be the fourth and the fifth, but they will not last forever. Notably, the Red Terran is also not dropping mules. It was dropping mules before, and then it seemingly has now ceased such muling activities, which makes me wonder. I wonder if it's triggered to like a base lifting off or landing or something, because we definitely saw mules before. So it is just a wonder, thinking what makes these bots tick. Like, why is Eris doing what it's doing right now? Anyway, it's grouping up all its Lings, really putting my Ling Rush bot to shame in this game anyway, that's for sure. Now, mass ghosts are moving out for Roro once again. Well, a mass of ghosts, not all the ghosts, I don't think, as there's 20, but this is only like 8 moving out, so I'm not sure where the rest of those lazy bones are hanging out. Yeah, I guess they're just sort of all over the place. Some in Medivac, some running down there. Okay, half of them are dead now, so it's a hard life being a ghost. Those guys on move command once again. Eris does move forward. Roro getting bullied off its 4th base. Now going to have to try and hold the high ground. This is going to be a lot more dead ghosts, though, as the Terran loses some SCVs that are staying alive so long. It's comical how long these Medivacs keep these units alive with their superior upgrades. Ling's going up the hill once more. And holy cow, what a game this is. As Roro has got a very significant bank. Eris spending its money as quickly as it gets it. The natural lifted off. The 4th lifted off. The 5th is still mining. As I say that, though, Lings come on in, but then they do change path. The 3rd could be in trouble, and it is lifted off now, too. These SCVs on the ramp are conscripted into battle. Roro has got a phenomenal bank, though, so it can keep pumping out units. It might benefit from some more production in a situation like this, although there's about an innumerable amount of things that you could point at in this game and be like, yes, this should probably be done this way. It's like, well, yeah, that's kind of obvious. Eris has built probably close to 2,000 Lings this game, and that's not normal. This is bot shenanigans of the highest caliber. Holy cow, what a game this is. Okay, will Eris be able to get the kill? Roro does need time to rebuild its army, as it's fallen down in supply, but it's still got a bank, so it's got enough resources really to max out again. Roro seemingly is trying to land at this 3rd with 2 command centers, which is probably a bug. We'll see if maybe one of these... Oh, it's because the natural's trying to move to the 3rd, maybe, and this one's headed out there. Okay, it does fix itself. Good job, Roro, on trying to figure it out. And there we have more Lings coming on out for Roro, or for Eris, pardon me. Roro gonna have to meet the swarm once again. It does have a nice position on the high ground. Ghosts fanning out. If only they had Cloak in this situation, although I bet Cloak would trigger Eris to pop out of its funk too. The bunkers are worth their weight in gold. High ground holding. Although the rallying of the units is definitely not ideal for Roro, as some of them are not even firing. The Terran falling in supply once more. I mean, this base still landed. This base trying to land a turret going up. Eris is definitely causing problems for the Terran bot, though. Lots of SCVs dying. How many SCVs have died? Almost 100. It's kind of funny how Eris has not expanded again. It's just taken all the bases on its side of the map and said, yep, that's fine. Why would I need more bases than that? And it's like, well, you may be in a 25-minute game where you're just building Lings. You ever think about that, Eris? As some ghosts for Roro do just kind of... Yeah, I think they're just like default rallied out to this further out location, which is very bizarre. They'd probably do best heading on home. The Terran, though, once again, if it's given time, it will rebuild. Eris has got to wait till it's maxed out on Lings again before going on in. Resources lost has evened up a bit, but Eris is still behind. It's got many more bases than its opponent, and Roro is going through the process of landing its command centers, but it is quite a process. Okay, so that one lands there, then it's like, all right, over here. And one's going to go over here too, so more money will come in. And yeah, place your bets, ladies and gentlemen, on which bot you think is going to win this game at this point. A part of me would be like, okay, these bots are totally glitching out, and then I'd be like, yeah, let's fast forward and see how this ends. But I kind of don't want to, because it's like, there is, I mean, like, things are dying. Things are dying all over the place still. Eris has lost almost 2,000 Lings this game, and they're not just running in and suiciding. Well, they are, but they're killing the odd thing, too. Roro's mining is disrupted again. It's got 5,000 minerals in the bank, no gas at this point, so it's going to have to start building just Marines. Who knows, maybe we'll be better for it, because Marines are cheaper. They also build quicker, too, so that might allow it to make the most use out of its limited 4 racks production that the bot seems to be stuck on. Command centers flying back to their reset point in the main, probably before they fly to the natural. There we go, they fan back out. It's very interesting logic with the CCs. I might fast forward a little bit, but I think Eris is probably going to attack again soon. And it's thinking about it. There's the blob on the minimap. As Roro tries to land another base, it is building just Marines, which is good to see. Marines trying to do their job against all of these Lings, which are now flooding in once again. Holy cow. As that is just a lot of Zerg. Ghosts kiting back as well as they can. But, well, quite a few are getting saved by the Medivacs. So Roro has yet to have its main base be breached, in part thanks to this blob of SCVs that is hanging out looking for work. Now going to attempt to secure this location. Eris has to rebuild more Lings. The Terran steps out on the creep, actually going to kill a few Lings, which is important, because every Ling that dies delays the next attack by Eris. Although Roro is moving out onto creep, which is very, very risky. That's right, get on out of there. You do not want any part of that. The Terran may secure a bunker up at its 4th base. This is such a goofy game, holy cow. Marauders are being built? Why on earth would you build Marauders, Roro? There's no roaches here. Anyway, bunkers going up for the Terran as it rebuilds those at its bases. They could definitely be useful, though, for when the next Ling flood comes on in. And it's gonna be coming. It's flood season all the time in this game. The Terran has built up to 120 supply, so that's definitely better than it was at. Kills off some more Lings, forces Eris back. I mean, if Roro can get up to like 200 supply of Marines, but the problem is it's moving out now. Like, yes, let's go out there into the expanse. Or there's totally not 277 Zerglings probably waiting for us. Weirdly enough, Eris starts to build Spore Crawlers, which I have no idea why at this point in the game. It's like, yes, spores, I need these. Maybe it's because of the Medivacs? Who knows? I certainly don't. Doesn't have spores in its main. At its third, its fourth, its fifth. Okay, it builds one at its fifth. Not at its sixth. It builds one here and then one here. I have no idea. Anyway, the Zerg is flooding on in once again. And looks like Roro may be pushed back once again to the top of that ramp. It did have a few bunkers that probably helped kill a decent number of Lings. The Terran is on the high ground. Again, SCV is going to need to work overtime to repair. There's a few units still in Medivacs. Roro unloads a poor Marine and a poor Ghost. It's just dropping poor units into the Piranha Pit. The Terran bot is starting to run out of money. But Eris is losing a lot of Lings trying to breach this location. Holy cow. Huh. This really is a spectacle, isn't it? A few SCVs just getting battered and bruised on the front, but the Medivacs won't let them die. The SCV is just like, let me die, but no. You have to stay there and buffer against all these Zerglings, which is, holy cow, so many are dying here. Eris eventually, I'm wondering if it was the 31-minute mark that caused it or what. The fact that maybe it's cleared out so many of the opponent's bases finally starts a lair 31 minutes into the game. Don't ask me why, I have no idea. The Zerg then suicides what I can only assume was close to 300 Lings to try and break that location, and is actually now very low on army supply, only 76 Lings. So Roro will potentially be able to rebuild. It does need to land this. Eris was maybe trying to expand to Roro's base, but that gets shut down. Mules can now go back to work, bring in some much-needed money for the Terran, which it is good to see that it dropped some mules. I'm wondering if Roro's usage of dropping mules is tied to whether there's SCVs at a base or not. Or I have no idea why it decides to drop mules. Yeah, I think it's probably tied to base landing, is my guess. Because it just drops 3. The Terran is now building more Marines. Eris built a lair, but then did not do anything with it. There's no Hydroden, no more gas being mined. It just wants Lings again. Eris is like, all right, back to Lings. Oh my gosh, I can't believe I've been commentating this game for 30 minutes and I still don't know how it's going to end. Lings do find the 4th base. There's a few Marines trying to help these poor SCVs, which are taking a beating. They are pulling back with very good worker micro, as Roro is related to Zozo, which is the bot that has the best worker micro. The Terran has a nice concave. The 1-1 upgrade's definitely helping out. So the 4th and the 5th are still mining. There's really nowhere else to land bases for Roro, though, but killing these locations would be nice. There is still 2 Ravens out, but they're just hanging out. They're not helping the army at all, which would be really nice for cleaning up this creep. The Terran says nope and gets on out of there. Roro just lifts up its base once again, says nope, gets on out of there. Some bio is unloading to potentially save this location, and I think Roro has the army this time to force this back with what should be relative ease. As Eris just took more bases, starts to mine more. It's very, very close to its opponent now. 52,000 resources lost to 63,000 presently, which is ridiculous. How has Roro lost 52,000 resources despite only ever hitting 5 bases? Okay, Marines are falling back. Medivac's helping out. Marauders doing Marauder things. And then we have got another hatch on the way for Eris. More Spore Crawlers going up. Drones are hiding away as a Ghost is hanging out. But, yeah, I don't know what to make of this one. Lick that like button. If we can get a like for every dead Zergling in this match, that would be pretty good. That would be absolutely ridiculous. And then leave a comment down below saying more Lings if you want to see more Lings from Eris. Subscribe if you haven't already, and yeah, what a game this is. Holy cow. I think Roro's gonna die, though. Like, it's running out of money. It's got a bunker with a single Marauder in it, trying to shoot Lings, which is not good. Mule's dropping, but then the base has to lift off right away. I think Eris wins this. I don't really see Roro coming back. It's got 5 Marines, 2 Ghosts, 2 Ravens. This base is mined out. It's only going to get more money if it lands this base, because it will never take either of these. And then it lifts off again, unfortunately. Yeah, I think this probably wins for wackiest Eris game ever, and perhaps wackiest bot game of the year. Zerg just building more Lings. Mule's dropping, but like the CCs always lift off. As we cue the Benny Hill theme. More CCs flying around. Terran Bio trying its luck. Yeah, poor Roro cannot mine anything, because it just keeps lifting off its bases. Okay, it does actually start mining for half a second, and then lifts off again. This is what happens when I just randomly... Okay, Eris is like, okay, how has this game not ended? What's going on here, guys? So it begins an Overseer sweep, or so it says. It has yet to actually build an Overseer, despite having the lair and the resources to do so. So Eris is a liar. This base getting cleared on up. Roro having 2 Marines left, 2 Ravens. The CCs are still flying around, so eventually Eris will need to build something in order to kill these flying command centers. It's bringing Queens over to help out. Shooing these Ravens away. Eris, Ling harassed. Yeah, I think we get that. I think we got it. And yeah, now is the time to place your bets on how many Lings died this game. I'm going to say 3,042. Okay, 2,755. Not a lot died at the end of the game. Eris versus floating structures. As these CCs may get killed by the Queen. Oh my gosh. No, Roro's trying to come back to life. It's trying to mine with mules still. Yeah, Eris must have really just broke something fundamentally here, because it is not building anything else. Like, no spores, no mutas or anything. So, like, and it says it's doing that. It said it was going to do an Overseer thing. It says it was going to do a spore forest. It says it was going to build floating structures, but it must just be stuck in like a defensive mode or something, or build only Lings. Yeah, a very, very rare bug like this from Eris. I guess I can reveal how the reason I clicked on this replay, guys, is because it's 51 minutes long, and I was like, how is that possible? How does Eris not kill Roro after 51 minutes? We have another gas being taken by Eris. Another hatchery being taken as it expands all over the map. More drones, many more drones. The Queen comes forward. The Queen could be the MVP and potentially kill all these command centers. It might take a minute or 10 minutes, but I believe. The game is also lagging so much because of all these Lings and the Medivacs flying around nonstop that fast forwarding isn't really fast forwarding if you look at the clock. Like, this is supposedly 4 times speed, but I don't think that's quite 4 times speed. So maybe 2 times is the speed we want. I think it's all on the Queen for this one. The hardest working Queen in StarCraft 2's existence. I wonder if it would crash if I put it into 8 times speed. We can give it a whirl. Yeah, a very, very rare Eris bug to give us this match. Oh, it finally builds a Spire. Why? Is it like a 44-minute, 1 hour time thing that Eris is finally like, yeah, I should probably build a Spire. Oh, that's so weird. It's not even going to be able to build any mutas because it's maxed out on darn Zerglings. Ay, ay, ay. It's all on the queen, man. If it wasn't for this one queen walking across the map, the other 6 are being lazy, this could have been a draw, potentially. This queen is just the real MVP. She really is putting in the work. Eris never got upgrades or anything this game. Oh no! Where are you going? Come back! Oh my gosh, I apologize for the slideshow that is this game. Okay, the queen had the urge to inject. Okay, but the rest of the sisters are coming now. Okay, they've tagged out. Until this one gets the urge to inject. Okay, now there's 2. One command center starts burning. Oh yeah, if you guys are still watching and you're not subscribed, what are you doing? This is quite the wait for the payoff. The ridiculous thing is that, like, this game was still ongoing for, like, the first 40 minutes. It's only just been floating buildings for, like, the past 10 or so. MVP Queen, 3 minutes to go. I also, like, I can't click ahead in the replay because all the Starcraft 2 engine does is rerun through it. So, and it would probably just crash my game at this point, I think. Bots do occasionally crash games. Some of them are more notorious than others. Like, if I try and skip through a replay to take, like, a picture of a thumbnail or something, then if it's a Sharkbot game, more often than not the game crashes because it just can't handle running through all of Sharkbot's commands. Holy cow. Like, it might actually be faster if I just let it run in normal speed. Maybe double? What's the FPS? 11. Then I fast forward and it drops to 5. And the whole game slows down. Okay, Eris builds 1 Muta finally. This Muta could actually come help. I'm glad to see it's not just my crappy bot that sometimes has struggles ending games. Okay, the Muta's coming to help. First, it might kill some medivacs on the way. There's also the Raven. Imagine if this Raven just dropped auto turrets and killed the Queen. The Muta is chasing medivacs, leaving the Queen to do all the work. Eris is doing 120,000 APM. Don't ask me why, but it's probably got something to do with 291 Lings. I wonder if it's issuing commands to the larva or something, selecting them. I wonder if that drives up APM. Anyway, GG.